Okay, hello. Hey, Facebook and hey, Instagram. How are you all doing? I hope that you're all doing good. Today is our English live video, and today I wanted to talk about food addictions and why I think that more importantly than, you know, getting a diet to follow, giving up your carbs, giving up gluten, like the main thing that you should focus on when you try to lose weight in the beginning is breaking from food addictions. Now, I know I've told this story before, but I'd like to say it again because don't want you to feel like because I'm a health coach and because right now I seem to be in my perfect weight, then I've never had these problems. I don't feel what you are going through. In the beginning of my marriage and having my first child, I did pass through a phase of depression because I think because there was a lot of changes. I've traveled, I left my home country, I had a baby, and there was just a lot of new changes that I was not able to cope with. And in that phase of my life, I started going for food as a comfort. But because I was also obsessed about my weight, so it was more like, okay, well, I need food for comfort, but I'm also not willing to gain the weight. So I started getting into a binging and purging phase where I would eat a lot of food and then I would purge it out. And that way I'm getting both feelings. I'm not gaining the weight, but I'm still able to get that satisfaction that I have from food. And people have that on very, very different degrees. Some people reach the point where they do have, an eating disorder, but some people do that on a smaller scale. And sometimes they're not even thinking that it's a problem, but in my opinion, it is a problem that anytime you are going for food as a way to comfort yourself and with feelings of being out of control, because that promotes cycles of addiction that you can't break off. And I want you, when you hear the word addiction, I want you to know that people get addicted to so many different things. And the one thing that's common in all the addiction patterns is that it's something that has a side effect and it's something that we feel out of control when we do. So, for example, when you feel upset, you just sit on Facebook for hours and hours. There's a side effect for that, and you do it out of like you're not in control of that. You feel like you should go off Facebook, but you can't. Some people are addicted to shopping when they feel anxious, when they feel stressed, when they feel like, life is not going their way. They start shopping and shopping and shopping. Some people are addicted to food, and some people are addicted to drugs or other components. Now, we will put addiction to drugs and alcohol on the side just because it's a more complicated issue, even though the same concepts apply. But because these things are very, very harsh on the body, sometimes the same techniques will not work. So we're going to stick to being addicted to Facebook, food, sugar, carbs, shopping, these types of addictions. So I want you to understand what happens in the brain. When you are feeling upset, what happens is your serotonin levels go down. The hormones that make you feel happy go down. Your dopamine levels go down. These are the hormones that make you feel calm and like relaxed. And when those hormones go down, you feel upset, you feel down, and of course, you want to make yourself feel better. The problem is when we start getting used to things that make us feel better so much quicker than other stuff, like you get a very enhanced feeling of happiness, your brain starts to attach this thing with feeling super happy and it starts being addicted to it. And the problem with these things is that even though it raises your hormones super quickly and it makes you feel happier faster, but it doesn't make you feel happier long term. It only raises your hormones and makes you feel happier for moments, maybe hours at the most. So I want you to think of someone who is feeling really, really down and they decide, we're gonna go and have a pizza. They will feel happier as they eat the pizza because their serotonin is going up from all the fat and the carbs. But once the pizza is done, your hormones will quickly dip down. So what's going to happen at that point? Your brain will say, yes, but when you ate the pizza, you felt so much better. And now you're feeling so much down. You need to eat that pizza again. And the cycle keeps going and going and going. And this happens even to our kids. When we give our kids at school and for breakfast things with high sugar, high carbs and processed foods and things with preservatives and other flavor enhancers, these things give our kids a feeling of happiness that is super quick, super intense, super high. They do not get that same feeling if they eat a piece of chicken and some broccoli. And so their brain starts saying, no, 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 I don't want the chicken or the broccoli. I want this cupcake that you had for breakfast yesterday. It made you feel amazing. I don't care if you felt like shit afterwards. You felt amazing when you were eating it. That is exactly the addictive cycle that happens with anything. Even if you're addicted to drugs or alcohol, it's basically the same cycle. It's like you feel down, you have whatever it is that you're addicted to. It gives you a very quick and high, intense feelings of happiness, and then it goes down, and so your body looks for something else. And that's why I always tell my clients that it's not really about counting our calories in the food to lose weight, or like removing this or removing that. It's about breaking that cycle of addiction. And in order for your brain to think of other things when you feel upset, other than the pizza and the cupcake, your brain needs to start feeling, you know what? When you had that walk last time when you were upset, you felt so much better. And your brain will start kind of connecting the dots and remembering that those actions made you feel so much better, and your brain will start craving those actions too. Our brain also has a mechanism that allows it to kind of build routines and build habits, okay? And that's why sometimes it's super hard to get someone to change in the beginning, because their brain has already established that as a habit. So your brain has already configured that every time you're upset, you go to Starbucks and you order a Frappuccino, for example. It doesn't really think about it every time. It's more of a kind of a quick, quick response. It's a very quick response. So what I try to do in my programs and when I coach my clients is, number one, we have to break the cycle. We have to break the habit. We have to get it from a place of my brain is automatically taking me to Starbucks to a place of, okay, I take time, I think about it, I dig in a little bit deeper and I think, why am I going to Starbucks at the moment? And you start breaking the habit by putting an alternative solution. So instead of every time I'm upset, I'm going to go to Starbucks, it might be, okay, every time I'm upset, I'm going to go take a walk. I'm going to have my herbal drink with me that I like, or I'm going to journal, or I'm going to do something that really can release my stress in a healthy way that doesn't have that much of a side effect on my body. Without breaking the cycle of addiction, no diet will ever work for you long term. And I find that this is like really one of the very important missing links when people go to nutritionists, is that you go in and what they do is they give you a paper. They tell you, okay, these are the foods that you need to eat, these are the foods you need to avoid, you need to have this amount of calories and you're gonna lose weight. And you take this paper and you go home and you try to follow it for a month and you feel like crap, because you've been used to having all these great things to make you feel better. So without someone teaching you, how do I break that habit? How do I teach my brain to link something different to happiness? How do I make my brain stop saying, you are not going to feel happy unless you eat that cupcake? How do I make my brain feel like sitting in front of a beach is something that's more interesting than going and having a pizza? That's really where coaching comes in, where you change the mindset of people. And I always get that question when people want to join my programs and they say, I always talk about how you will make me lose weight without feeling deprived. How are you going to do that when I love bread and I love sugar and you will want me to stop those things? And I always tell them that I don't actually at any point in my coaching career tell people to stop anything. What I do is that I change your relationship with the food. I change your mindset around food, so that when you think about a piece of cake and when you think about a piece of pizza, the thoughts that will come to your head will be completely different. And if you think that's impossible, I'll prove it to you. If I put in front of you the best pizza in the world, it looks amazing and the cheese is like, it's pulling and it looks like the best pizza in the world. But I told you, you know what, this pizza has, a component in it. If you eat it, you're gonna have a stomach ache for a week. Are you still gonna have the same cravings for the pizza? Or the cravings will go away? So if you think about it, it's more of how you're thinking about the food and what is the outcome that you're thinking about. If you are thinking this pizza will make me the happiest person on earth, you are definitely going to want it. But when someone helps you to start and realize what's the effect of that pizza on you really, when you start being able to concentrate that when I eat the pizza, I do enjoy it, it does feel good, it does taste good, but then I this and this and this after. When someone